Hidden beneath the very mission walls, beneath the chapel's shadow and the barracks where legends were forged, archaeologists unearthed something utterly astonishing: a concealed tunnel system. This wasn't some natural cave or a shallow burrow. These were deliberately constructed passages, long forgotten, offering a stark new perspective on the desperate final moments inside what we thought we knew as the Alamo. For generations, we've believed the Alamo was a fortress, its defenders trapped, isolated, their fate sealed. But what if that wasn't the full truth? You are about to understand how recent archaeological excavations are completely rewriting the story of the Alamo siege, revealing not just a hidden network of tunnels that challenges every assumption about its defense, but also undeniable proof of a vibrant civilian community within its walls, forcing us to rethink who truly stood with those famous defenders. For almost 2 centuries, the story of the Alamo has been etched into our national consciousness. A small band of Texian and Tejano fighters, outnumbered beyond belief, bravely facing down Santa Anna's formidable Mexican army. We picture William Barrett Travis drawing his famous line in the sand, asking those willing to die for liberty to cross it. We envision Davy Crockett and his Tennessee volunteers, frontiersmen with long rifles, meeting their end with unmatched courage. And of course, James Bowie, sick in bed, still fighting from his cot. This is the narrative enshrined in countless textbooks, movies, and historical markers. A heroic last stand, a military fortress defended to the bitter end by an all-male fighting force. This powerful image is largely drawn from a handful of first-hand accounts, most notably those of Susanna Dickinson, one of the few Texian survivors, and later the detailed memoirs of Mexican officers like General Vicente Filisola. These accounts, filtered through the lens of memory and political purpose, painted a picture of unyielding defiance against overwhelming odds. The defenders, numbering perhaps around 200, held out for nearly 2 weeks against an army of thousands, from the 23rd of February to the 6th of March, 1836. Their sacrifice became the rallying cry, "Remember the Alamo," fueling the eventual victory for Texas independence just weeks later at San Jacinto. It's a story of pure, unadulterated grit, and if you find this kind of hidden history, the real story behind the legends, as compelling as I do, consider taking a moment to subscribe right now. It genuinely helps more people discover these forgotten truths and allows us to keep digging into the gap between official history and what the actual evidence reveals. We're on a mission to bring these remarkable discoveries to light, and your support makes that possible. But the problem with relying solely on these early narratives is that they often simplify, romanticize, and sometimes omit inconvenient details in favor of a clear, powerful message. They focus on the dramatic military clash, on the iconic figures, creating a monolithic image of the Alamo as a purely strategic stronghold. They present a stark, almost theatrical scene, soldiers against soldiers, a fortress against an army. But what if this grand narrative, for all its power, completely missed the underlying reality of the place, the human complexity of those fateful 13 days? What if the fortress itself held secrets that challenged the very idea of an isolated, doomed stronghold? Because what archaeological teams have been systematically uncovering in recent years isn't just a few scattered artifacts, it's evidence of something far more complex, something that rewrites the very layout and strategic understanding of the Alamo compound. Beneath the northern wall, extending beyond the recognized perimeter of the compound, excavation has revealed 3 distinct hand-dug tunnels. 2 of them are relatively shallow, likely for drainage or simple movement during earlier mission periods, but the third is different. This one is deeper, larger, clearly designed for human passage, running for at least 40 feet before an unexplored collapse, with evidence of temporary shoring and careful concealment. It was not part of any known original mission blueprint or later military fortification plans. This isn't just a hole in the ground. It suggests a deliberate, desperate attempt to create an unseen egress, or perhaps even an entry point during a period of siege. Think about that for a moment. This isn't about some Hollywood fiction. This is tangible, verifiable evidence unearthed by teams using ground-penetrating radar and careful manual excavation. Dr. Jackie Miller, leading one of the recent projects, presented findings indicating the presence of these subterranean passages that were not merely utilitarian. The tunnels contained artifacts consistent with the early to mid-19th century, placing their construction firmly within the period leading up to or during the siege itself. One passage, for example, contained fragments of Texian military uniform buttons and broken musket parts, suggesting activity directly related to the defenders. The conventional wisdom states the Alamo defenders were trapped, completely encircled, with no hope of escape or external communication. But if these tunnels existed, hidden and possibly still functional, does that not fundamentally alter our understanding of their strategic options? And this revelation about the physical space of the Alamo is amplified by another profound discovery: the sheer scale of the civilian presence within its walls. Historian Dr. Bruce Winders and Susan Prendergast-Scholver have long argued for a more inclusive view of the Alamo inhabitants, but recent archaeological digs have provided indisputable material proof. Alongside the expected military items, bullets, bayonet fragments, cannonballs, excavators found an abundance of domestic artifacts: children's toys, pottery shards from cooking vessels, sewing needles, bone buttons, and even tiny fragments of fabric from civilian clothing. These weren't just a few camp followers. This was a significant, enduring population. Estimates, now supported by extensive archaeological layering and artifact density, suggest that at least 24 women and children and several enslaved individuals were living within the Alamo compound when the siege began. One excavation unit near the kitchen area revealed a collection of small, almost intact ceramic bowls and a child's tooth buried in a layer consistent with the siege era. It's evidence of everyday life abruptly interrupted by unimaginable violence. The implications of these discoveries are profound. The tunnel system challenges the image of the Alamo as an unbreachable yet isolated stronghold. If these defenders were digging, concealing, and perhaps even using these tunnels, it suggests a strategic complexity, a desperation, and perhaps even a hope for communication or evasion that goes far beyond the simple narrative of a static, heroic stand. Were these tunnels meant for escape, for reconnaissance, for bringing in desperate supplies under the cover of darkness? The answers remain partially buried, but the questions alone shatter the old narrative. The battle for the Alamo was not merely a straightforward military engagement. It was a war of shadows and subterfuge as well, and the confirmed presence of a substantial civilian population completely reconfigures our understanding of the human drama unfolding within those walls. This wasn't just a fort filled with hardened soldiers, it was a community. Dr. Ana Maria Juarez, an expert in Texas social history, points out that the inclusion of women, children, and enslaved people profoundly changes the emotional calculus of the siege. The defenders weren't just fighting for an abstract ideal of liberty, they were fighting to protect their families, their neighbors, their community, huddled together in fear. This adds an entirely new layer of pathos and motivation to their sacrifice. The famous line in the sand takes on a much heavier meaning when you realize that crossing it meant condemning not just yourself, but potentially every non-combatant sheltering behind those very walls. It forces us to acknowledge the untold stories, the silent heroism of those who were not wielding rifles but simply trying to survive. This wasn't just a military objective, it was a sanctuary, a last refuge for many, making its fall all the more tragic. So when you now think of the Alamo, you no longer just see the brave soldiers against insurmountable odds. You now see the desperate digging of a hidden passage, the possibility of secret movements in the dead of night, and the faces of civilian men, women, and children huddled together as the battle raged, their lives inextricably linked to the defenders' fate. It shifts the identity of the Alamo from a purely military monument to a far more complex human tapestry of desperation, ingenuity, and a shared struggle for survival, blurring the lines between soldier and civilian. What was the single most surprising detail your school textbooks left out about the Alamo? If you want to revisit this powerful reframe of a historical landmark, go ahead and like this video so you can easily find this revelation again. This is the true power of history, isn't it? The past is not static, not a finished story confined to dusty books. It is a living, breathing narrative, constantly being unearthed, challenged, and reshaped by new evidence. And if you found these hidden secrets of the Alamo compelling, then you are ready to peel back even more layers of our past. There are countless other stories, other figures, other civilizations where the official history is just the surface, waiting for the real evidence to come to light and utterly transform everything we thought we knew. Subscribe to History Decoded so you don't miss the next remarkable discovery we're unearthing.